Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the sponsor please use
Mr. Brand.
Sure. You can imagine by my exchange earlier this week with Ms. Savotis that I do not believe that we should be using taxpayer money to conduct unnecessary studies. I believe what makes this study worse than the other study is that this study is imposed on a private company. And I would like to know if you believe that it's inappropriate for the government to be legislating a study be conducted on a private corporation when we really should be encouraging free market competitive process.
Well, first of all, the study is to be done by the Department of Public Service, the Public Service Commission, which is a state agency, which under current law has responsibility for regulating cable franchises in cooperation with municipal governments where those franchises have been granted. And so the department will undertake to get the information that is needed. The purpose of this is to enable the legislature and the governor to understand the access of our citizenry to the most advanced information technology possible in voice, video, and data for our consumers, residential, small and medium-sized business, hospitals and educational institutions, and whether or not people in rural areas, in our upstate cities, Albany, Syracuse, Utica, Rochester, Buffalo, and possibly some others, are getting access to this technology. And if that is the case, then I think, given the fact that
but isn't Verizon a private corporation? Unlike Con Edison or National Grid, where there are public utilities, this is a private corporation. It is not a public utility.
Yes, and it has a plan in which it is currently picking it right now, according to Verizon's annual report. They have about 30% market penetration of the Fios technology, which is the technology which is the brand name for the.
As a business, as a corporation,
yes,
that's their decision.
And they are selectively choosing which markets.
And they have the right to do so because they are a private corporation. Therefore, they can enter whichever market they would like.
And I think that there is a concern that they are choosing not to enter certain markets in those upstate cities in the rural areas. Perhaps whether we don't know whether it's related to cost or not, but since the value,
it's irrelevant, quite frankly. It's irrelevant
from the point of view of us as the legislature in terms of trying to assure that our citizens have access to the most advanced information technology possible.
But the issue
this gives us that opportunity and that information. And whether it's Verizon or any other company,
well, the issue here,
whether it's Verizon or any other company, is irrelevant.
Well,
the purpose, the
but
ultimate purpose
you're looking
is to
for
get
really
the
a
technology
high-speed internet. So why are you focusing just on fiber optics and not looking at cable, DSL, satellite? I mean, I would disagree regardless of whether you were doing all of them or just one. But I find it, if you're doing this study and you're targeting just one fiber optics as opposed to DSL, cable, satellite. The idea here is that you're looking for access to high-speed internet, correct? So why are you just focusing on fiber optics and not the other options? I mean, perhaps, fiber optics is just not available in these rural areas, so why can't, maybe there's alternatives?
Any member of the legislature can put in a bill to require additional studies. This relates to fiber optic fiber optic cable to the premises, because
but why did you choose,
I think there's a
I'm just curious to know why you chose this particular bill with this particular language that is geared only towards fiber optics. Because
I'm interested in making sure that the people of our state have access to what I think there is a recognition that this is the most advanced mechanism for enabling the quality of information to be distributed to our society, to the people of our society.
I mean, I would assume that's very costly to deploy fiber optics. I mean, do you have an idea of what it costs for a company to expand their network?
No, but obviously they're making major investments, so they must believe that it's very profitable. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it.
Exactly. So don't you think that if it was it would be in the company's best interest to expand into other areas because like you said, it's very profitable. So if they had the ability to, and it was the good business sense to do so, that they would expand because, as you mentioned, it is profitable for them.
Well, I think, that there are a whole bunch of cities in upstate New York, I've listed them a number of times in our discussion, that are not getting access to the technology. There are substantial rural areas of the state of New York not getting access to the technology. And if this profitable technology, if Verizon is choosing not to invest in those areas, then if it's we need to get an understanding of that. We may adopt other mechanisms, like the creation of a public authority to distribute that.
Another public authority to tell a private corporation where they should not operate.
Well, I think when electric and telephone technology became first available in this country, many parts of this nation, the utility industry was not interested in providing that service. So, for instance, in rural areas, rural electric cooperatives were established because people organized. The federal government loaned them money through the Rural Electrification Administration. Rural telephone cooperatives were established where private companies felt they didn't make a profit. The Power Authority of the State of New York was created because it was perceived that certain utilities were not interested in making. If you would let me finish, you asked me a question. Various public authorities have been created to to invest where the private sector was uninterested because it could not make a profit or chose not to make a profit. So if Verizon is not interested in investing in some parts of our state, then municipalities or cooperatives or the state of New York through a public benefit corporation if we felt that it was sufficiently important to do that, then we could do that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Speaker, on the bill, please. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time, Mr. Brennan. I have a problem with this legislation for a few reasons, but really, this is a free market society. This is a competitive market society. We should not be dictating where not a corporation should be operating, where they should be expanding. It's not our role as a legislative body. There's reasons where you don't decide to operate, and in this case, I would believe that we shouldn't be dictating where a private company conducts its business because there's other factors such as the ability to construct facilities, their ability to expand their network, the approval process in municipalities, and I think most importantly, the demand for the service. If there's not a demand in these rural areas, why are we going to mandate that they go and expand into these areas? I really think that this is stepping beyond our scope of what we should be doing as a body. In this economy, when we talk about specifically regarding Verizon, I mean, they lost tens and thousands of jobs in this economy. We need to provide an environment where businesses can strive, where they can do well, where they can produce more jobs. This is not a good business-friendly policy. I believe this study, as most studies, that you're using taxpayer money to conduct things that we don't need to know or really have in this case, no business knowing. It's just a waste of taxpayer money. And that's for those reasons I will be voting against this. And by the way, on the issue of saving taxpayer money, I think we could all do a service and save our taxpayers a lot of money by lowering the air conditioner in this room because it is freezing. So thank you very much. I will be voting in the negative, and I urge everyone to join me. Thank you.